Hey guys, and welcome back to Hardware Unboxed behind the scenes video. You probably will be fairly familiar with this sort of style shot from most of my videos where you sort of see my set wall that you can see in the background here. But we're going to go and give you, I guess, a second look at the set and sort of mostly the stuff that's on this side of the camera so that you guys can see that for the first time. I have done a tour and walk around of the set previously, but I haven't shown you in detail the stuff that's on the other side of the camera. So that's what we'll be going through in today's video, and you can sort of see some of the setup and things that we use for production pretty much every single day, because it's all very, very important, the stuff on the other side of the camera, not just what you guys see. So if you're not familiar, Steve and I did build this wall into my garage so that we could attach stuff to it. I'm in a rental, so obviously you can't attach stuff like this to the walls, unfortunately. But as you can see here, we are using a mixture of Lego and boxes for PC components. You can see some of our Corsair test system stuff. But this is all stuff you can see in most of our shots. What you can't see is that underneath here, there's also some additional boxes. These all have stuff in them. So there's a PG27UQ in that box, a $3,500 monitor that I'm just using in the background of some shots. Darkbase 700 case over there, and there's a few other additional boxes there. We get so many boxes at Hardware Unboxed that we really do need to store them in places like this. Otherwise we would have no space whatsoever. You can see there's a bit of carpet along here. We've got some cords here that are supposed to be for this laptop that you can see here, and also for the display. Haven't hooked those up since I swapped out the MSI monitor that used to be there for this Viotech one. So yeah, there's a few interesting things here, but let's take a look at some of the other stuff. This is the famous table that people complain about being super flexible. You can probably see why it's pretty bendy, simply because, you know, it's just a plank of wood that I put on these really cheap trestle tables. This used to be from my old office. Planning on upgrading this with a proper desk setup that actually has a bit of sturdiness to it, because this is really bad in terms of its, you know, its flex is ridiculous. So got to fix that up. But yeah, that's basically the table that I sit on. That's the chair that I sit on. Because of the fact that this table is on those legs, it's actually quite a high table, so I look ridiculous if I don't sit on those sort of things there as well. And you'll see this as well down here. This is very important. This is the box that I use for focusing. So a typical setup for me for Hardware Unboxed would be put that focusing box there, and as you can see over here, we have the teleprompter setup. So basically I put this camera inside that thing there, focus it on this box, and that allows me to sit in the chair by myself while still being able to have everything nice and in focus. And you'll see a few other things around here. So yeah, this is the teleprompter that we use, or at least the one that I use. Very nice to getting those, you know, scripts and stuff. I do use a Pixel C for the actual tablet thing. That is, you can see that down there. That's a Pixel C, and basically that goes inside that. And yeah, it sits on the front. I can read the scripts and everything off from there. Sometimes I read them word for word. Sometimes I, you know, might do a few interpretations of what I've written. But yeah, basically it keeps our videos nice and short and concise, especially when we have so much stuff to get through. I used to do them improv, but with the teleprompter it's just so much better. And this thing up here at the front that you'll see here, this is a PS4 remote control that is used to control the teleprompter. So yeah, just allows us to press these buttons, change whether it goes up or down pretty much, and yeah, just leave it to it. This other thing here, very, very important, a key piece of our production gear. This is a Zoom H4n. Both Steve and I use these. They give a much cleaner audio input. So basically this is an audio recorder. They give a much cleaner audio input than the audio input to the camera, so a lot less, you know, hissing, static. Yeah, it just has a much lower noise floor, so it allows us to get that crisper, cleaner audio that you're used to hearing. It's got two XLR inputs on the bottom, so one there and one there. We use one of those into our microphone, and I'll show you guys in just a moment. But apart from its incredibly long startup time, this thing takes ages to turn on, gives really nice audio quality. It's got multiple inputs. There's a 3.5mm on the back, and also comes with some microphones built in. Yeah, very, very high quality recorder, so It's probably not a production tool that everyone would use, considering, you know, a lot of people use wireless microphones, or they don't have a fixed and static setup like we have here. That would make that using this sort of thing unsuitable, but for us it's really good and quite good value for money. The microphone that we use, I've shown this one off before, but this is the Rode NT1-A. Yep, NT1-A. So Rode is an Australian company. You know, that's not really a deciding factor for us in choosing whether we buy products, but it's just nice that some of the best quality microphones you can get on the market are from an Australian company in Rode. So basically this just hangs... This just hangs on this cable that you can sort of see here, just self-supported. Probably not the best thing. I should probably actually mount it properly. But yeah, that gives us a really nice, crisp, clean audio. And yeah, the noise floor on this thing is ridiculous. It picks up everything. So it's got a really wide sort of collection. So if it's either me sitting here or if it's Steve and I, both of us can be heard on the microphone. So yeah, that's really good. And obviously the cable just snakes its way down into that recorder thing that you can see there. So this is the view that I normally look out to from where I'm sitting. So we'll get rid of that box. So I'm more familiar with looking at this way. So let's just get that in focus. There we go. So you can see there's a lot of stuff in this room. It's quite a big room. It's certainly much larger than Steve's studio, but there's lots of stuff on this side. So we'll go around and have a look at some of this stuff, some of the stuff that's over on that section. And you might be able to see as well, this pole here, this basically goes up to here and across to here. And we actually have one of the main 3 lights that I use, 3 LED lights that's attached up and sort of pointing sort of onto the desk, but also mostly behind us onto the set to sort of illuminate that area. Quite like the way my videos look. Some people give me advice and I just, sometimes I take it, sometimes I ignore it, but yeah, so you can see some of these lights here a bit closer in terms of what they do. These are the Aputure HR672Ws, so they are a 5500K or thereabouts LED light, really good light quality. When you're buying production lights, you want them to all produce the same color light, so that's really important. You can't just go out and buy LED strips that you'd use in a PC or anything. You really need the same color light, so that when you buy more than one, as you can see we've got 3 in here at the moment, that you're getting the exact same color quality from each of those lights. So these have really tight tolerances. They're not cheap. They're about 200 or 300 Australian dollars, I think, but they're quite flexible in that you can see that there's a knob on the back that allows you to dim and brighten the lights. They also remote control, so we can turn them on and off without having to go around and turn each of them on individually. And yeah, they have a wide throw, and we use these soft boxes, as you can see, the Aputure EZ boxes. There's one on all of them. Basically, that just gives a softer light output. LEDs can be a bit harsh in their light output, but certainly they are much better quality than fluorescents, which we used to use. Fluorescents have a green tinge to them that's not ideal, whereas these LED lights give you that much clearer and crisper light. And you might think, of course, well, isn't it all just bright white light? Well, yeah, in terms of production workflow and looking at the footage that we create in Premiere, not every light is created equally. So this tripod's about to be replaced. This is a tripod that I use for my teleprompter. It's a really crappy tripod. I just bought a replacement, a nice Manfrotto one that arrived, so I'll be switching that out probably for the next video that we produce in here, but you can see the rest of that teleprompter. I've sort of hacked on this Manfrotto tripod head as well, just so that I had a spare one actually with some working parts from a previous broken one. Parts of it had broken, but this part was salvageable, and basically that allows us to use the camera quick connects that we also use for our other tripods, so we can just slot them in really easily into here, and just gives that extra height as well above the main teleprompter platform. It's a bit more flexible. That other tripod that I was mentioning, this is the one that I use for most of my B-roll over here. So it's a combination of the slick AMT legs. Don't remember the exact model number, but they're really nice and sturdy, and then we've got that professional nice fluid tripod head on the top. These are key. You must have a fluid head if you're going to be doing these sorts of things, because otherwise you're not going to get those smooth pans and tilts. So it's really key to have this. Not the cheapest tripod setup, but certainly it gives that excellent quality that you have seen in a lot of our videos. What else can you see around here? Let's move over here. These are some LED lights they've introduced for some shots from time to time. These are some really good ones from Yongnuo or something along those lines. I'm not 100% sure, but they are 360 lights. You can see that these are currently set to green, but they can do obviously RGB. They've got a built-in battery, so you can see at the moment here that there's no battery or power cord at all. They've got a built-in battery, and the battery lasts for quite a long time, which is really nice. We've simply got those on some short tripods, so I've got 2 of those. Nice for adding a bit of color to shots. Steve uses them a lot more than I do, but certainly quite like those. Well, what else have we got around here? So we'll show you some other things we use for production, and then might do a part 2 showing you the rest of what's in here. So you can see we've got a lot of these panels on the walls. Panels there, lots and lots of panels. So all of these are soundproofing foam, and we have them in these sort of sections so that a lot of sound can just hit them and get straight up absorbed. So the reason that they're positioned here is simply because we look over here towards the set. Where does all the sound go? Well, it goes into this corner over here. So some of the shelving helps to prevent the echoes, but a lot of it is also done by the paneling on the walls to simply prevent those large flat surfaces from reflecting the sound waves straight back into the camera. There's a few on that empty shelf as well, and there's some more in this corner as well, simply because that was just plain wall space over there. So having those there does exactly the same thing. A few of them have fallen off, and you can also see a few of them on the roof as well. Those were quite helpful as well in dampening the sound directly over the camera area. Things can bounce around and do all sorts of things, so the most amount of soundproofing foam you can have into a room, the better. And you'll see over here, you might have seen this in some of the shots, but this corner over here, which my garage door faces out that way, so behind there is a lot of cardboard, and that sort of cuts out, helps produce a bit of a barrier between the outside world and the inside world. Surprisingly effective, that cardboard. You might think it's quite useless, but it actually does do quite a lot to help dampen the outside sounds. And then internally, we've got these sort of old doona covers, so your blanket style covers. They're not thick or anything, they're not super heavy, but they work well to sort of dampen that corner. So yeah, a room of this size needs quite a lot of sound dampening material. You can probably still hear from this raw footage that it's not 100% perfect in its, echo reduction capabilities, but we do use a couple of Premiere plugins as well to help us, well, at least help me, tone down the sound of those echoes. So we'll finish up for part 1 of this video, and unlike last time where I said I would make a part 2 and then never got around to it, we're making a part 2 straight after this one. So I'll catch you in that one.